Hey there. Microphone is on. Just FYI. I'm just testing out some things real quick. How do we sound? We don't have visual yet, but we do have audio. So just a quick check. How do we sound? Chance. Whoa. Okay. Well, I don't know what to tell you there. Nothing. Why don't you come on over here? Baby brush. Well, we'll do that later. The music is too loud. Uh-oh. Okay, well, it's fine. We're gonna switch over to the camera. And, of course, Alex is off screen. That's fun. But we kind of knew that might happen. So I'm gonna make sure... Alright, just doing a quick sound balance check. How are we doing, chat? So I've got some lo-fi... you know what? I'm going to switch it to jazz, because the Pokemon stuff is just... It's fine. It's just... I prefer the relaxing jazz.
Lax jazz?
Lax jazz. Lax. Okay. The background music. Okay, so how does it sound now? Full beard, yes. I do have the full beard.
Full beard boy, yes.
I actually trimmed it a little bit recently, so let's... Oh, shit, I got the wrong thing on. Let's switch to this one. There we go. Okay, and I think that'll work. Is that... What is that noise? Oh, that's the fucking... That's the jazz music. How does the jazz music sound compared to us? I'm trying not to make it so that we're drowned out, you know? And I'm also doing this so that way I can hear the music and you perfectly. Good. Alex, give me a 1-2 hello.
Hello, 1 2 1 2.
Give me a wham bam. Play Monkey Jones original background music. No. I'm not doing that. That is fine. But yeah, nice jade. We do not have a jade docky. That is just a pillow plush. So
Wrong way.
what I do when I set up, because my bed, like, it's kind of weird to see just my bed behind me. We just have our products. So we got the Kiza and docky and the jade pillow plush, and of course, you know, that sort of thing. Cool. So we sound good. So today's stream is kind of organized chaos. So,
my whole life.
Yeah, right. So what we're gonna do is I've got the chat up here, so that way we can. The trick to maintaining, like,
They're all jealous of your manly as fuck beard.
I got a man. That is like the one manly thing I got going for me.
One you say with that
Oh,
chest.
no. Okay. So goodness. Oh, thank you. So what I got going on is we have 10 tips, as the title suggests, and then after we give the 10 tips of what we've learned, yeah, just kind of like yesterday, after we give the 10 tips of what we've learned, we're going to go ahead and kind of open up to Q&A in case people want to do that.
Oh, and I need to open the door because Jojo might come home early today.
Right, that's a good point. So yeah, down here in the bottom left-hand corner, this is for post-stream convenience, and that is like where we're leading into. So like I will change it right now, like I'm just kind of explaining the table of contents. This will change to tip number 1, the obvious stuff.
The obvious. The obvious stuff that sometimes isn't so obvious.
Yeah, so like I put like I rearranged our tips. Like before we started doing this, we kind of like arranged a set of tips that we kind of agreed on, but like 2 of them kind of like were redundant and or I could have phrased it better.
Yeah.
And so I changed a little bit.
Well, hindsight's 2020, so.
Yeah, hindsight is 2020. Well, so if some of this ends up being does the carpet match the drapes? Is that asking me?
Probably me. No, it does not.
Well, he addressed me specifically.
Oh, he did?
So I'm assuming...
Real shit. Oh, I think he's talking about the salt and pepper look going on.
Yeah, the salt and pepper. I haven't checked lately, but I can not answer that.
I don't think so.
Okay.
And I think I would have a better view.
Because I'm so fat. It just covers it all up. It's like the fat bastard from...
No, it's because I'm always...
Okay.
You want to go the roundabout way, and I'm just like, no.
Okay, well, okay, I'm gonna age gate this stream. Holy shit.
I mean, you brought on me uncut. I don't know what you expected.
But yeah, so tip number 1, she said 2020. Did you say 2020?
Hindsight's 2020.
Okay. So the obvious stuff, I just put this here as the disclaimer. The big one, if violence has no place in a relationship. And originally when I was scripting this, I put right here that you would say.
That sort of thing.
But if you're a victim of domestic violence, research your local shelters, get out. Violence has no place in a relationship.
No. And it only has a place if it's in your pillow, which has happened more than a couple of times.
But
for both reasons.
God, like I came in with, and I'm all like, so this is what you do for a relationship, and Alex is like, this is how you fuck. Like this is Alex.
I was actually talking about yelling at a pillow and taking a pillow and punching.
Oh, as in punching a pillow.
Yeah.
I thought you were going way more graphic.
I was legitimately talking about when you get mad at somebody and you have to go and
punch or scream into a pillow.
Yes.
Okay.
Which had, like I said, that has happened. That's why I said both on both reasons.
Yeah. No. Like. And I will talk about. I do have a thing here. In fact, we could probably skip around a little bit because these tips are in no particular order. So, essentially, violence has no place in a relationship. Compromise. If you guys have a disagreement, find a way to do the middle thing. Communicate as much as you can, as often as possible, and don't be afraid to be frank. This is still something I'm working on. I will often feel guilty about certain aspects of things that I want, and I don't like saying them.
Yeah, and that's... Yeah, see, I don't know why. I have no filter.
You don't.
If he's making me upset with something, I'm just trying to go, no, you have to leave me alone right now. I can't deal with this right now, or I'm angry about this, or you can't be in this space. Go away.
Yeah.
He knows when I'm upset and I just need, but usually the thing is, a lot of my feelings, I have a hard time describing what I'm feeling, and I'm just like, no, I just need 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I just need, and he knows that I need the space, even if I can't describe that I need the space, because I'm not good at describing how I can't identify.
Now, you've got what we believe is undiagnosed Asperger's. And after we've talked to a few people, they professionals, they seem to agree with that.
Including my therapist,
So your therapist, your doctor, it is technically undiagnosed, but most people seem to agree that you probably have that, so you have a harder time communicating. But that's where the communication, just do it. You're gonna have to work it out.
And honestly, that goes for any kind of relationship. That goes for if you have friends or family, and if there's people who are not willing to communicate with you, or just are more willing to gaslight you, or are more willing to dismiss your feelings, they're not communicating. That's not a relationship at all.
No, it's
it can be times where you can agree or disagree and stuff and get mad at each other, but it's always usually about building your life around who accepts you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're, because there is such a thing as professional relationships versus personal, and this is strictly for personal.
Yeah.
But you should definitely be.
And this also doesn't just apply to straight hetero people either.
No.
This applies. This apply. I've never seen any kind of romantic partnership that doesn't kind of follow these rules,
Yeah, no, because if you're going to make it work and you want it to work in the long run, you're gonna have to learn to talk a little bit, or at least try to come to an understanding. I don't understand myself very well. He understands me better than I understand myself.
And even then, that's sometimes up in the air. Sometimes I will actually be annoying, and she'll say something like, like, oh God, I'm trying to think of an example,
Yeah.
but she'll say something and I sense something is wrong and I will need to like sit there, and this can get annoying, but
Yeah.
it is just something that I like to do to make sure.
He checks on me a lot because of my issues, and he has like a series of questions that are a checklist for his mind, and that way it's like him. Okay, is it this? Is it this? Is it this? It's scratching off like the possible. What do I need to fix, or does she just need time alone?
Yeah.
Like that's literally what he does, and but we've also had many a year to work out.
Yeah, this is 10. Like, we were not good starting out. Like, we were fine. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But actually, I think we should just hop to that one real soon.
Yeah.
I've had issues with being the one that makes all the plans. Actually, Bidoof, I know we're jumping ahead a little bit, but I've got a big tip for you on that one. If you are... This is going to sound really sexist. This is a woman hack, okay? This is a woman hack.
Oh, no,
What you do, I'm going to get canceled.
There's a programming thing here.
What you do is you say, instead of where do you want to go, you say, guess where we're going. What she says is her first response. That's where she wants to go.
Yeah.
Like, that is the big hack that nobody knows about.
Now, mind you, it does not work on me.
Yeah, no, she's a fucking ball of crazy.
There are, pretty much any woman...
You don't like surprises.
No, I don't like surprises.
Yeah.
But if your woman is
If you're a woman.
if your woman is neurodivergent, it might not work.
Or
but
people, yeah.
Yeah, but generally, as a general rule, that will work.
So there's the obvious stuff. Let's hop into the second one. Actually, because this is all about communication. You will fight. Like, that's just gonna happen. And the tip is learn to fight fair. It still says rule number 1. Let's change that because I'm bad at this. Rule number 2. So you will fight, and you will have nasty fights. It is going to happen in any long-term relationships.
Especially if either partner has any sort of in-progress anger management issue.
Oh, that was me.
Yeah.
That was me.
No, well, I'm going through this right now with actually a very good friend of mine. Because she has anger issues. Like, she'll completely shut down, and she won't talk to me for 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's one of the people I'm thinking of.
Yeah, no, it is. But no, she has admitted anger issues, and that's what happens with her, and she comes back 3 months later, and I get a big, massive apology. And I'm like, no, it's fine. I know you're this way. I'm going to give you the patience, and I'm not... Because she's lost friends over it. And I'm like, yeah, but you know it's a problem, and you always come around on it. Mm-hmm. And that's really the big thing. She always you didn't always come around on it. That was my big problem with you.
Yeah, it took me a while. It took me a long time, in fact. But
I had to teach him how to apologize because he had never been taught how to say verbally, "I'm sorry."
Yeah, one of the reasons for that is growing up, my family would fight. We would have very nasty fights, and the way we would apologize to each other is we would bring an offering of some kind, either like that they would clean up the house for them, or this is just kind of the ritual my family went through. They would clean up the house for them, or they would bring them something nice. They would try to break the ice, usually with a joke, which is one of the reasons why when this is using humor as a defense mechanism, they will try, like, as soon as we hear the laugh, that is when the apology comes through for the way my family did it.
See, it's a zero confrontation style of apology, which is, I'm going to just say right now, it's one of the worst ways to handle it.
I wouldn't say it worked for us, but it did not work, as in my family unit. It did not work when I came... when we became a unit and we had to live together like
that.
It's
a zero communication form of apologizing is the problem. It doesn't teach you anything. It doesn't. When I was a kid, if we did something, my mother would sit us in a room, stare at each other, and we were both staring daggers, and then you're not moving until you say you're sorry.
Mm-hmm. I don't.
That's how we did it.
Being aware of your flaws. I do have that on here, recognize your weaknesses. But yeah, essentially, learning to fight fair. Now, we still do this once in a while. You're actually worse at it than I am right now.
this year's taking a toll.
I know, but I am telling you, you have been worse at it lately. I was way worse at it than you a couple years ago.
Yeah, we're kind of aware that whatever situation mine comes in is pure stress and not his fault whatsoever.
So one thing this is essentially like unfair fighting. Let's say, for example, someone messes up, the other partner is furious and going at it. What tends to happen is the old stereotype, well, what about that time? And they'll mention an anecdote from like 3 years ago that is not relevant to the conversation,
yes.
But it's just kind of stored away in your angry memory bank
yeah.
that gets pulled up. And it's like, that was years ago. Why are you bringing up now? Thank you, Gabriel.
Thank you, Gabriel.
Yeah, thank you very much. So to those that do not know, our 10-year anniversary is on Valentine's Day. The reason that we're getting distracted, I know. The reason that we are doing this live stream today is because the next 2 weeks have video slots taken up by sponsors, and I promised them that spot.
Yeah.
And so I was going to make this a proper video essay for next week, but I just didn't have time to get it ready this week. So that's just how it happened. So yeah. So yeah, learning to fight fair, like stick to the certain thing and realize when you guys get into a fight, what are you fighting about? Have you had that fight before? And what can you do about it? Thank you, James.
Thank you, guys.
People are being very sweet. I realize that there's probably like a 10 to 30 second delay happening right now. So the last comment I saw, as per me speaking, is happy anniversary. So if another comment happens, then that's what's going on. Normally I leave chat up, but I didn't.
Is something my therapist taught me that I wish we had known at the beginning of our relationship.
Oh, yes.
And that is the use of a safe word for arguments. Like, if an argument's getting too heated, you obviously are not in any state of mind to have any rational thought. Because I have brought up things more to you, and I have done them in tandem as trying to, like, okay, well, you've done this and this and this, and so, like, you've had domino patterns where you just did the same thing. When usually if I bring something up, it's because you repeated a pattern. Mm-hmm. But there probably are a couple times where my autistic brain or whatever just wanted to bring something up, because I can get very, very savage very easily when I'm not in any sort of state of mind to be in a discussing mood.
And I did that too. When we were the first few years of us being married, we're not fantastic. I mean, we just fought a lot more.
Well, it was a high stress environment. It was a low money environment. He was working literally 70 to 80 hours a week with just weekends, and I would have to let him sleep because he was still doing work and college at the same time. So I would just have to let him sleep, and I was at home with our daughter, who was still on a feeding tube at home for almost 2 years. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I wasn't in any state to do anything. I was massively depressed. We did have a lot of fights, and even after we got our first house rental and everything, it was still shaky, but it was a lot better. I could tell that as soon as we got into the groove of our work environments and everything, it helped out a lot. Me starting to work and earn money helped a lot too. But because you can't. A
lot, like most divorces are 3 things: kids, money, or sex.
Right, exactly. And the problem is like you do sort of have to recognize, okay, because I couldn't get a job. I could not work because of our daughter. So he was the sole provider of everything for a long time, and he was frustrated that I couldn't do anything to help out with.
You also had postpartum, like really bad.
Yeah, no. Well, I'm starting to think it was just PTSD coming up, and
it could have been
because I'm thinking about it now, because I think postpartum maybe led into it, but I think because it was a lot like the way I was 2-3 years ago when I was going to therapist. Mm-hmm. It was a lot like that. So he knew it wasn't entirely my fault, but he was still frustrated with the situation. Mm-hmm. And we've learned nowadays, we don't like 90% of the time we know it's the situation, not the person.
Yeah.
So it's really, really easy to just, okay, I'm going to stay in my room and I'm just going to scream at something for 5 minutes. Because the situation is driving me freaking crazy and I know it's not your fault, so you don't, because you used to just come up to me and yell at me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good solution. Like,
No.
straight up, no, it was not good.
No, there was times when I've locked him out of my workroom, and I'm like, no, I don't deserve this. You can leave me alone.
Yeah.
And like I had to do that for him to learn that was why I wasn't. We had to go back and talk about why I had to do that for him to understand that he couldn't be yelling at me for things that were not my fault.
Let's see. Sorrow Dusk has asked, what do you do when you're right, but the other person refuses to listen? I would
agree to disagree moment, honestly.
Well, no, hold on. So, like, I'm trying to imagine what context they're asking this for. When you're in the right and the other person refuses to listen. So if the other person is refusing to listen, that generally means that they are unwilling to hear you out, and they're all like, God, it is hard to say. My first recommendation immediately is, we are not therapists, we are not relationship counselors. I would go get a counselor. Just because that seems very context-based, and there should be, like, someone in there to help sort out feelings, because everyone at that point has a perspective that they're bringing in. Can you think of a fight that we had, like, where one of us was just super stubborn?
Well, I mean, we're always stubborn, but we always agree to disagree.
On certain things, but he's saying, I think Sorrow is mentioning, they cannot fathom that they're wrong. Oh, okay. I've seen that. I've dealt with that.
Yeah.
That is hard to overcome.
Well, but here's my also thing. Like, you also don't know 100% if you're in the right, though, either. Like, if you can't fathom that you're wrong, like, that's one thing. But, like, if you're also 100% sure that you're right, like, that's also kind of like, are you sure? Like, because if you're both taking a sort of moral high standing, then there's obviously that, like, this goes back to communication. You're not communicating at that point.
Yeah.
You're that's why the only way to really resolve those is to both admit that you might be wrong and to agree to disagree.
See,
depending on the situation.
I kind of know what he's talking about there.
Oh,
and like,
but if anybody can't fathom that they're wrong, then they're automatically in the wrong.
You know who had that problem. She could not, and she admitted that too. She could not think of a time when she is wrong. She, in her head, must be right at all times. And it's worse too when the universe kind of rewards that behavior for various reasons.
It rewards females.
Well, we're not gonna get into that, but I'm saying, like,
I'm sorry, I've got a very
I know.
angry at my gender right now.
But you're gonna I would recommend counseling. There's a lot more to it than that. If they themselves cannot come to you, then I'm not going to say they're the problem, but there is something that they need to work through.
There's obviously communication. There's a bridge there that's not being built.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that kind of is.
Takoa. Yep.
I mean.
Yeah. No. You got it. You got it in one, buddy.
No,
Yeah. So.
Yeah, so, like, I feel, counseling would probably, a counselor or even just a third party, or a neutral party coming in and maybe trying to elaborate the idea or build a bridge of communication.
Quick, Alex turned this into a shitting on women stream. Yeah, I hope that helps a little bit, and I hate to be that cop-out guy, like, seek a professional, but, like,
the way that scenario is presented is 100% reliant on the context of your specific scenario.
Also,
you can't give real relationship advice if you don't know 100% of what's going on. I have been in the middle of two long distance relationships, and I can firmly say which ones were right. But even though they were the same on the surface, but they were two completely different.
Is that a different you know who that I think of?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I know that one. Tip number 3, no relationship is equal. But. But.
No. You should try your best.
So, essentially speaking, if anyone says that we are completely 100% equal partners, they are either not or they don't understand what they're in. There is no equal relationship. And what does that mean? Essentially, there is, like, even if it's 51-49, there is always someone more dominant in certain situations. Now, when
it's not about equality, it's about fairness.
Sorta.
Like, equality is not fair. Like, that's the thing. The equality just means everybody gets the same thing no matter what. It doesn't, you know, it's not, but being fair is about everybody being happy and content with the situation.
Right. Yeah, if they claim they're in an equal relationship, they are being taken advantage of. So, and here's the thing, too. The equality is not necessarily the same in every situation. So, for example, when it comes to our family's, like, well-being, I am in charge most of that in terms of, like, what are we doing? What is our strategy going forward? What is our finances like? How are we paying bills? Are we going to eat somewhere?
He makes sure that we are provided for, but who's doing the actual providing kind of switches sometimes.
And well, okay, you're thinking we're thinking of two different things here. So, hold on. The phrase I hear is a relationship is like 60-40, and both people are trying to be the 60. Somewhat. So, like,
that's a good relationship.
Yeah.
Like, that's obviously not everybody's case, but that's usually the good relationship. Like,
what I think you're thinking, you're interpreting that as 60% of the work, and not 60% of the decision making.
No, I'm thinking of everything. It's every aspect.
So, like, for example, the one I gave was I'm in charge of, like how our family's money goes, essentially. Yeah. But in terms of the business, that is like, what would you say, 70% you, 30% me?
I would say closer to 80 at this point.
Yeah, but then when it comes to the house finances, it is definitely like 80-20.
Yeah,
so,
no. So, like, right now, so for a while he worked, and I was doing all the house chores and making sure Jojo got to school and everything. And I did that for 6-7 years on my own completely. But then once he decided he wanted to do all this, my business online started really taking off. I lost an assistant, the ability to have an assistant, so I've been working way more, and he's actually taken over most of the house chores and Jojo and all that stuff. But he still manages, like, how the cash flow goes, because I'm terrible at that part. So I just make sure that we have the money. He makes sure it all gets organized properly.
Yeah, so
but, like,
right now, Alex is the breadwinner. That's just. I'm still bringing in money, and it's not bad money. It's just not as much as she's bringing in.
It's what I do is actually keeping us comfortable and fed and the house paid for and everything right now, which is astounding to me, because I'm like, how the fuck did that happen?
Well, it took you, like, what, 7-8 years?
It took me 8 years to get there.
But,
well, it probably took me 6 years to actually start earning a living with it, which is about right, because I'm a total freelance artist. Because we were living off of convention money and stuff.
We were doing well, but I was teaching for those 5 years, and that was our main source of consistent income.
So, 6 years was only 3 years ago, honey. 6 years in the business.
Was it that?
Yeah.
Well, now is like year 8 or 9, right?
Yeah, now we're in year 8 or 9. But
yeah, but you weren't bringing in nearly as much money like those previous years.
No,
like,
the first 5 years. It took me 6 years to start earning a living. Is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what. It took me 6 years to start actually earning a living with the art. But now I'm doing better than that even. So.
Yeah, she's doing well. Like, we got a system going, and it's good. It's good. So,
buy our merch.
Buy our merch. You can see the advertisement up there. Please do. And that schedule is our Twitch schedule. Tonight is Smash Bros. Night. However, it's probably going to happen closer to 6 o'clock than immediately. So, just FYI.
The distribution ebbs and flows. Yeah,
exactly.
You got it,
no,
exactly what it is. It just depends on what your life situation is, what your personal skills and talents are. I can't do money at least organizing it. I'm on an allowance. I had a spending problem, and I was like, no, you need to put me on a very strict debit card that can't go over the budget, and like, no, like, you can't, like, if there's no money in the account, I should not be allowed to use the card. It should just be like,
yeah, you've got no impulse control when it comes to money.
No,
like,
I don't.
Fortunately, you're a cheap date. Like,
No,
in most situations,
yeah.
like, you don't go out and buy a car, but more than once you've come downstairs and said, I spent $300 on a gotcha, and like, I had to like spank you, like that's not okay.
Yeah, no, it's not. But this is why, because like he had my debit card set up to where it would do an overdraft charge or whatever.
Yeah, which was fucking dumb.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
I'm
know
like,
why
did you allow it?
I didn't. That's what the bank set up. It was stupid.
Oh no, yeah, no. I'm like, no, I don't want that. I do not want that. The minute that card hit 0, I should just not be allowed to use it. It should just not work.
Yeah.
Okay? And I'm like, and they're like, well, we put this as a security measure. Nope.
You know what?
I don't want it.
Let's go to this one. Recognize your weaknesses.
Yeah.
Let's do that one. Yeah. So, let's see. My weaknesses. God, I get frustrated pretty quickly. I get.
Yeah. And here's the problem. I am very bad at. My one major weakness is spending money on impulse is curbed by making a priority list of what I would like to buy the most.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's how I do it. I don't need everything at once, which is why I've never gone, like, I've never blown $1,000. I've never done that. It's always been like $200 or $300.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I want to, and usually I'm very good at saving up and actually getting the big things I want or setting up payment plans with my purchaser. Like, I have my new doll that he was $500 and I paid him over a course of 5 months.
Yeah.
Guys.
Yeah, Elena's got. So yeah.
Yes, I do.
And like you don't want to do like your weaknesses will change over time. Because
Yeah.
my weakness used to be I used to have really bad anger issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent years going over that and trying to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And now maybe once every 6 months is a pop-up.
You're so much better. Like yeah.
And
like,
even then, it's rarely at you specifically. Like, we do
Yeah.
get, like, I'm trying to remember our last big argument was setting up the debit card, actually.
Yeah,
there was a day.
Because I was sick of not having money that I could just have, like, secluded. Because it was always just, well, here's my card. And I'm like, yeah, but your card doesn't have a limit. I can't learn if I don't have a limit.
Yeah, so.
And I can't keep.
How long ago was that argument? Like.
That, I've had my card I paid for Chris, so almost a year now.
So that was like a year ago was
Yeah.
our last major argument.
Yeah, because I told him to set me up a card 3 years ago. Okay, I told him, no, I can't do this anymore.
It wasn't 3 years ago.
I asked for it 3 years ago.
It was not
I initially did.
It was not 3 years.
Yes, it was.
No.
Anyway, I asked.
You're just wrong, sweetie.
So I asked for a card way ahead of time, okay? Because I started recognizing I was having this problem. I'm like, honey, I need a card that I can't go overspend because I'm going to blow our money if we do it. Because I got to work on this in a set, safe environment, controlled.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, okay. 4 months later, have you gotten my card yet? No, like it just kept leaving his mind. Like he completely yes.
Noko, you are a biased party. You are not allowed in this conversation.
See, yeah.
This is like having a therapist that's like taking sides.
I mean.
No. No,
yeah,
it's not okay.
His issue now is only self-confidence. But, like, that's also gotten better because it was worse when he had the anger issue on top of that, trust me.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Self-confidence issues with anger management problems? That is not a great combination.
See, and one of my biggest weaknesses when I was younger was not talking.
Yeah, well...
I was usually very quiet and I didn't know how to, like... I would roll over a lot.
I'm no bias. Yes, you are. Don't.
Biased. It's stating fact.
Shush, Noko.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm still.
Oh
But
my
yeah,
God.
so that was the thing with the debit card, because like now I have a controlled environment, and now it's like, okay, here's your bonus, here's your allowance. Once you spend it, it's gone. I can live with that.
What dictates a weakness? What if is your partner? Okay. Is it what your partner is bothered by, or something about? It could be really anything.
Yeah.
To be honest. Oh, Stuart is a procrastinator, bro. Yeah, that's a problem. I'm working on it. That's why I've got that stream schedule.
I'm actually working on it. Well, I don't think I procrastinate as much as I'm just overworked right now.
Yeah, you're kind of a workaholic. See, I am a workaholic when I'm not procrastinating. When I get into a groove, it don't stop. Like,
and I'm just a workaholic 24/7.
Yeah. So it could be a little bit of anything. Like a weakness could be a shopping addiction. It could be a
self-confidence issue.
Self-confidence. It could be anger. It could be
you rattle your keys in your pocket too many times and it starts driving your other. There was this I Love Lucy episode about it.
Oh, I was like this seems weirdly specific, and I don't think it's about me.
Yeah, there was a story in the I Love Lucy episode where they were talking about sitting at this thing where Lucy was trying to. The boys were trying to get the girls to stop being mad at them for their stupid little habits. Mm-hmm. And they sent a movie star with a story, because they're in Hollywood, with a story about how some lady shot her husband, or he was in a car accident because he just kept whistling. So, because whistling drove her crazy.
Okay.
So, like, it could just be, you have an annoying little habit, and it's, maybe your partner gets really, so you start learning to do it less, or just do it, like, as a straight, because, like, stress habits and stuff.
But Doof has pointed out, like, if they want, so, like, figure out a way to, like, overcome that weakness, too. For example,
at least make it less severe, like, you can live,
I totally interrupted your story, and I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. You're always going to have some kind of weakness, though, too. Like, I think it's extremely important. Like, something I've talked about, I have a lot of friends who go to therapy, and we talk about a lot of therapy techniques. Mm-hmm. And something a therapist mentioned is there is no end goal. There is no actual end. You are never going to be perfect. Period.
And that leads into tip number 5, set realistic expectations. So, like, a big thing that I came out of a seminar years ago was the number one. People always people love listicles, right? Like, the number one breakup thing is money or children or sex, which I just did. Yeah, which I just did earlier. But actually, the reason people get mad about those things is they have expectations. So, for example, when I first got into the relationship, and this is where I feel we were worse at the beginning because of this. Mm-hmm. I would go out and work all the time, and I would come back, and I would expect the house to be very clean, like nothing on the floor, and that was my big expectation. Yeah. Was that because I don't like stuff. I don't like stuff on the floor. Yeah. I don't like shit in my way. So that was my big thing. And when she was going through her PTSD postpartum, what the fuck ever you had, you barrel of problems. Yeah. She physically could not do it. And I had this big expectation that if you're going to be a wife, this is what you're, like, housewife specifically.
Right, no, exactly. And, like, it's not an unfair thing to expect in some areas, but the thing is we also had a very small child who played with and tended to, and she never went without a bath, she never went without clothes, she was taken very well care of, and that was my main focus too.
And my expectations were set visually, so if I see shit on the floor, I get very upset, Right. And that's where it comes down to, is I was expecting a lot. Yeah. At least for the time. Nowadays, it's not such a big deal since we're more put together. We can expect a little bit more from each other. But if she's expecting me to bring home $100K in a year and I can't do that, well, that's a problem. Mm-hmm. And that's not necessarily a problem with me because I am working as hard as I can. But this isn't an issue. I'm just saying numbers.
Yeah, no. But, that's the other thing. I'm super laid back. Like, I don't like it. People are like, well, what do you expect? I don't expect anything. Yeah. This is the kind of thing. I'm just like, life happens. What a lovely bonus.
Also, before Dakota mentions it, set realistic expectations for yourself. Yeah. Don't expect yourself to be super dad, super mom. It ain't gonna happen. It might work for a little while, but I
think I managed it for like a week.
Yeah, no,
But thing is, I miss my daughter. I'm working so much now. I miss seeing my daughter. I do not get to spend time with my daughter anymore, and it actually legitimately sucks because I'm working so much. She crawled in my bed last night and fell asleep. I didn't have the heart to put her back in her own bed.
So I think let's move on to the next one. I got put value in the little things.
Yeah, so I'm spoiled because of him.
So like, here's my thing. I do I basically micromanage everything in the house now. The finances, the bills, cooking, most of the cleaning. I don't like cleaning the bath. I fucking hate it. I
know. I've had less time to clean and it's out of my mind, and the only thing I take the time to really clean every week is my workspace because it gets kitty litter and fabric stuff everywhere, and I have to make sure it's all separated.
Yeah.
So my main
This is currently a live stream, Jelly. Sorry.
Yes.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. But so my cleaning effort goes into making sure the business is running properly and in a cleanly, especially right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I bleach wipe my desk every week.
But yeah, so since I'm micromanaging everything, to me it just seems like a lot of little tasks and a lot of little chores, and I didn't stake a lot of value into that.
Yeah.
But for Alex, that is like her big thing, right?
Yeah, no, because like thinking about 1,000 micromanaging things, I can only do that in a business sense. My business mind loves that. The rest of me, my real life personage, hates it with a fiery passion. I'm not good at it. My room is always kind of scattered all over the place. I have places for everything, but I like to live in a place that feels lived in. So I'm not all that. I don't live in mold or anything. But like, you know, I prefer to keep like a mini trash bag at my side of my bed to throw away wrappers and stuff in for snacks and whatnot, instead of just having to get up all the time and throw it away properly. Like, and like, I don't like thinking about if I have to think about. Do I have print sleeves? Do I have charm attachments? Do I have my jewelry pliers? Do I have, is the van packed for the, usually I would be the one in charge of managing like all of the items we need for the vans for trips and stuff, or if we have our suitcases packed.
And that does go back to the no relationship is equal too, because
right.
Like I'm managing all that house shit and you're managing all that business shit.
Right, exactly. So like I keep us stocked on duct tape, office supplies, Sharpies to write out addresses with. Like that's all me. So he's really good at doing groceries and, oh, hey, we need toilet paper. Oh, hey, we need baking soda. Like, I can't think of that shit. I don't see it. It's not in my head. It is a blessing to not have to think about this shit when I have everything else.
There was a term going around that a lot of guys kind of dismissed because it was a very feminist argument.
Yeah.
It was called emotional labor. Mm-hmm. And it very much is a thing. Like I typically am always hesitant to agree with certain things like that. But yeah, no, that is very much a thing that is important.
Yeah. Like, the only problem is like, I feel like I'm gonna be lost when you're not around because, like, I just have to order food when you're gone because I'm like, I can't even, like, think about going to the grocery store because...
Well, okay, so, like, and also, it's interesting, too, because this... Oh god, there's so many tangents I want to get into.
Yeah,
because like the psychology of schemas and like leadership traits versus like hard worker traits. So for example, what you're describing right here is kind of like independent artistic hard worker traits. The thing that I'm doing where it comes to micromanaging, that is like leadership traits.
Yes.
And
I have never been a leader.
Yeah. So
I've never been a leader.
That is where my teacher background really helps with that. But yeah. So essentially, and that kind of leads into the other tips as well.
Yeah.
Most of these tips tend to bleed into each other, and some of them are a little redundant, and we tried to avoid things like that too.
Yeah. There's a thought I had. It's also a matter of like what you're personally comfortable with. Like I got a story to tell. Like my grandmother.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Because my grandmother is a germaphobe.
Gotcha.
She cleans constantly, and the thing is you know her house is like pristine clean, like bleached every Saturday clean, and you know that's what she likes. That's her standard of quality. Obviously, she has the time to do that because she's retired and in her 70s. But Another thing is like my grandfather doesn't help her with it at all because it doesn't matter to him as much. So there is a sense of if the other person is going to try to do it, but they're not going to do it in the way the other person likes, then the other person has to sort of do it themselves. Like there is because there have been times when I've asked you to help with things and like you do it in a way that literally fucks with my system, and you just kind of go, fine, if I'm not going to do it, you just do it yourself.
Yeah,
and,
we have done that.
Yeah,
So.
but like that's not entirely unfair though either, because if you don't know the system and all you're gonna, because what you do when you mess it up is you're actually making more work for me.
Mm-hmm. I get it.
Yeah.
No, I get
So,
that. Like
there is-
I've done that often.
Yes,
Specifically
often.
specifically with editors. Like, oh my god. I hate editing so much, but do you know what I hate more than editing? Training editors. Like, holy shit. I have got such a specific way of doing it that half the time when I receive a video, it's like, I'll fix it. I'll do it myself, you know?
Yeah, so if there is something that it matters to you or the other person and the opposite person can't do it the other way they like, it is not entirely, you gotta talk about it, but it's not entirely unfair to just say, well, if that's the way you want it done, you're gonna have to do it yourself because I'm not capable of doing it the way you want it done.
Now, you should try as
Yeah.
best as you can,
Or
but
like,
you need to recognize that your partner doesn't always have that passion for that.
Yeah, maybe ask, well, how can I help you make it easier?
Like, maybe I keep you well stocked, or maybe I make
Like,
sure
order
that...
print sleeves. Did you order the print sleeves?
I didn't. I forgot.
Didn't order the print sleeves?
Don't beat me, sweetie.
Just say we have over 200 new
By the way,
bags.
that's a joke. 100% a joke. I
Yeah,
know
no.
a lot of you are going to be mad at that, but
No, I don't
care.
beat him. I just throw toasters at his head.
Toasters?
Somebody throw a toaster at some poor guy's head.
When was this?
Oh, that's a common domestic abuse thing with women. They don't beat you. They throw appliances at you until you bleed.
Fuck me. Dude.
Yeah, no, that's why. Male abuse in households is severely underrated, and nobody takes it seriously.
I know what you're saying. What you meant is female on male.
Female on male,
violence,
domestic violence. Yeah, because I've literally read interviews where people have called shelters and they've gotten laughter in response.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
But this leads into number 7. Don't try to fix everything. It's not gonna happen. But this tip was very specific, almost too specific.
Yeah.
The reason that this tip was created is one day Alex called me up and she vented to me for about 30 minutes about some drama in her sphere of the internet. And so naturally, being a guy, I want to make my woman happy. I then go on this big old dive trying to solve the problem. And not only did I waste a lot of time doing this, I almost pissed off everyone involved, and I just made her angrier.
Yeah, because I was just mad because everybody else that I knew was really upset because they felt betrayed by what this person had done. And
it's so vague, that we'd almost have to get into specifics, but
yeah,
essentially there was drama on her Undertale bullshit.
Well, what happened was somebody used a bunch of assets in a video that they didn't ask for, and a lot of the creators that they took assets from have specific things where they said, we don't want you uploading shit, we don't want this reposted, you have to, if you want to be if you want my stuff featured in a thing, you have to ask me, or I've got a link back or something like that. Because one of the pictures that was used was a print that we have that's in my shop, and I don't allow my shop pictures to be used without a promotional link. That's in my descriptions on my my FAQ and everything. I do not allow this use of my shop promos unless you're doing a commercial for the shop. I have that stipulation with all the people who do my comic dubs and everything. I get commercials, that it's just something that I do. So this guy just basically went on Google and pulled a bunch of stuff and even used clips from one of my friends' animations for their video. Yeah.
Kind of. This is a whole different thing but like...
Right, like, I mean, and I
Yeah.
understand it's gonna happen in the gray spots, but this video got like a couple million views or something like that, and everybody was just kind of like, well, I mean, they put a credit thing in the thing, but they didn't read any of the actual, like, don't repost or blah, blah, blah.
Now, as a YouTuber, like, I'm not gonna do that for everything, but like, yeah, well, so how do I tell the difference between listening and needing to act on a problem?
Yeah.
So that's essentially what it comes down to.
Right.
Is, what...
You ask.
You ask, is like, is this a vent, or do you want me to solve the problem? And it's communication.
Yeah, because, like, I do understand the whole, like, females have this intense desire to kind of vague hint at things and be like, hey, honey, so...
Jeff Foxworthy has a good bit about it. He says, women will train their men. And they'll just say something, like in bed, like they'll be reading a magazine in bed, and they'll say, I'm hot. And the guy will get up and go to the light switch, turn it on, and then go back. She didn't ask him to do that. She just said, I'm hot, and he kind of instinctively solves the problem.
Yeah.
Now, Takoa did say sometimes you do need to take the initiative, and yes, that's true.
Yeah,
but like, like you gotta kind of learn to pick your battles too.
Yeah.
Like, this was not a hill worth dying on.
No, and I didn't even want you to get involved. That's why I got so mad, because I was like, no, I don't want any of this handled in any way that you're gonna... No, I don't... You're gonna do it wrong anyway, because I know these people, and I know how they're gonna react to it. I just don't even touch it.
Yeah.
I just need to scream for 2 minutes.
Yeah, this is how it goes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So sometimes, like, I'll say something, and he will be like, okay, I'm gonna go, like... And he'll, like, I'm writing a post. I'm like, no!
Yeah. So, no, it like... Yeah, read the second message. Yeah. If you see a consistent problem, then you might need to do something about it.
Yeah.
But you got it. You got it. Let's see. Most of these we're kind of wearing these out. You know what? Let's go into this one. Right here?
Yeah.
So, so we've been presenting these rules completely out of order, but fortunately I've been crossing them off as needed. And I say out of order, this list really has no order.
Yeah,
but
from what we discussed the other day.
This is more towards young couples, because young couples, especially in high school when we were younger, this was especially a problem. It's okay to do your own thing. That sounds obvious, but it isn't always.
No, I think it's a problem in young couples because they kind of have this expectation of, hey, muffin. Oh, it's a good muffin. Hold on, I got a cute muffin. I'm gonna take my muffin. Oh, you're such a cute kid.
So, like, yeah, essentially, when we were younger, we used to do pretty much everything together. Mm-hmm. Like, we got a new video game, we would play it together. We wanted to see a movie, we would go to it together. Like, our interests were pretty in sync. Like, really, really well.
Yeah, and teenagers are very hormonal, and okay, it wasn't us, but I did have a friend who, his girlfriend would get pissed off if she even spoke to another girl.
I suppose that is relevant, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, it was like, because they sort of have this idea that, now that they're a unit, that's all they can be. And that's just teenage expectations.
Yeah.
Because nobody really talks about this kind of stuff. I know you want to go. I'm sorry. I love you. Bye-bye. My good muffin. But, like, you're allowed to have a life outside. You're married, but you're not only married.
Yeah. So, like, as we got older, our interests really diverged, where I got into, like, D&D and YouTube stuff. She got into, like, Undertale and her webcomic stuff. Yeah, you're just an Undertale thing. That's all you are, right?
Oh, I'm gonna smack you. Literally, I am doing, like, I have really good world building Wednesday asks and everything today. I'm actually getting really good world view, and you're like, I mean, we both love building worlds.
Yeah, no,
but we don't. But like, the thing is, we get so involved in our own worlds that we have a hard time talking about them to each other. Yeah. Because I'm like, my world has abilities and souls and skeletons, and he's like, you want to hear what I did with the Pokemon gods? And I'm like, don't really care as much. No.
Now you should share achievements.
Oh yeah.
Like you should share achievements in the sense that, like, hey, I just got 1,000 subscribers overnight. Yay! Good for you. I'm happy for you.
Honestly, like, him getting all of, like, the massive comments and stuff, I'm like, oh my god, people are, like, really hard to, like, listen to after so many subscribers. I'm like, yeah, I tried Tumblr at 10K.
Oh my god.
Tumblr at 10K is fucking awful. I'm almost at 15 now. Noko's got, like, almost 18 or something like that. She's really insane.
But you should celebrate the other person's success. So, like, I finished a volume of my comic. Like,
yeah, no, I'm 20 pages away. Oh my god, yeah, no, like, me having a completed webcomic has been, like, a dream of mine for, like, years. And, like, no matter what it was, he's like, yeah, no, it's good.
I don't like your comic. I don't read it, but, like, I'm happy for you.
Yeah, no, it's dumb, but I have fun doing it, and that's all anybody ever needs to have in life.
Yep. So it's okay to have
brag.
Humble brag. That ain't humble.
Well, I mean, 10K is not a lot. It's real. Oh, you've got over 20 now. Well, damn it. Yeah, no. Well, my blog.
Well, my readers are better than your readers.
My blog is shadow banned.
Right. Let's see. It's okay to have your own thing.
You could have stopped this sentence and try it, Tumblr. Yeah. No, I have met, like, a few really good people that I love on Tumblr, and it's more just the
like, this is kind of a redundant rule.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned earlier, learn to separate.
Yeah, I know. So we don't sleep in the same room anymore that much.
Yeah, no, that we actually, she sleeps upstairs in her office, and I tend to sleep down here, and a lot of that is utilitarian. Is that right? Did I say that right?
I actually can't remember. My brain is
essentially, it's more of a utility thing. So, for example, I wake up early.
We started sleeping separately when he started getting up at 5 a.m. to do his workouts. Here's the thing. My creative mind sometimes likes to work all the way into 1 in the morning. I have been up... My creative mind.
Well, you I know what you're saying.
Yeah, no. Well, it is psychological because the closer you get at night, the closer you are to you're preparing your sleep to dream. Mm-hmm. Your brain is preparing to dream. So
I have nights like that too.
Yeah,
like,
you're creative.
Like I would not wake up at 5 a.m. if it wasn't for JoJo. I would sleep until 10 a.m. every day, and like I would stay up till like 3 in the morning. Well, you used to not.
You used to just do it. Mm. Yeah, he started his workout routine with that. So he was up at 5 a.m. and I was not going to bed till 1 in the morning. So at 4 hours, I was getting this very, very loud wake-up call at 5 in the morning because he was doing his exercises, which was totally fine. But I was like, if you're going to do that, maybe I should start sleeping upstairs. Mm-hmm. So this was about 4 years ago. You were still in school. You're still working.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how it started. And we realized we were having a lot more fun interaction and stuff after I started sleeping upstairs. So I just started staying upstairs. And now I just sleep down here with him occasionally when we need the cuddle time.
Yeah. So I do, like, sleeping in separate rooms is not a bad thing. In fact, it's actually really good because I sleep better on my own. Mm-hmm. There are times where it's like, you need to sleep with me tonight.
Yeah.
Or
I'll have that too sometimes because, like, obviously I've got some issues and whatever, and sometimes I need the security. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I know sleeping in separate rooms has honestly it's made things less tense overall. Even like if there was any other friction or anything, like it usually disappears by the next morning because we've taken the time apart, and now it's more fun to see each other in the morning. Oh, hi, good morning, honey.
Yeah.
And like he'll come upstairs and he'll come flop into bed and give me a good morning kiss and cuddle anyway, and it'll be more fun because he's coming to see me.
Oh, it's almost like spicy teenage thing. I
kind of like it, yeah.
Like when I used to sneak into your window.
Yeah, no, I used to open my back window and I would pull him through the window. And that was a real. I think my mom knew it was happening too. She just
didn't say anything.
Well, mom always kind of thought that like teenage expression and stuff was important. I mean, she ran around on some guy's bike for like 3 weeks and did backstreet racing.
Now, kind of controversial, but this is a good segue. Because when I shared this with people... Okay.
Yeah, this.
When I shared this with people were not happy that we wrote this down. In fact, like, several people were like, are you sure you want to put this here?
Yeah.
And, like, this is spicy if you take it out of context.
Mm-hmm.
But really, it comes down to if your partner has needs, you're going to need to try to meet them.
And I don't care who you are, what gender you are. If sex is part of those needs, you're gonna have to learn to live with it, even if you don't want to.
So
a little bit.
Here's the thing, like, you should not like hurt yourself or like mentally whatever, but like you need to find some kind of workaround. So for example, and this is regardless of gender too, because I've been seeing a lot of girls complain that their boyfriends won't, and I don't understand that because that's baffling to me. I can't imagine a world where I wouldn't want that.
Well, you are very high. See, he's okay. So let's start with us, since we're their best references.
Yeah.
So here, he's super high sex drive,
Mm-hmm.
like 2 to 3 times a day. Super high sex drive. That is him. My sex drive is like once a week and I'm good.
Yeah, once every 3 days is more accurate.
Once every 3 days, but like on average, like once to twice a week is about my actual sex drive level, if that. It could even be artificially done because we've done, yeah.
No.
Now, what do you think? I'm gonna ask them this. What do you think we actually do? If he's really high and I'm really low, what do you think we actually do?
It's going to take about 30 seconds
Yep.
for them to answer. So while they're saying that,
Total soy milk.
so while they're figuring that out,
Yeah.
For example, some people are ace and they marry non-ace people, but they figure out ways to make that work even if it isn't directly putting out. So for example, I'm going to use the stereotype guy is high sex drive, girl is ace, because that's just how it be. Maybe,
Generally,
yeah, that's usually how, like, something. You got to do, like, Aspergirl. You remember that manga?
I love
There's a
Aspergirl.
manga called Aspergirl, where, in Aspergirl, there is a couple. It is a guy who is on the spectrum, and there's a girl with severe Asperger's. And they want to sleep together, but she can't because she's afraid of pregnancy. So what she'll do is she will give him items of hers to help relieve the tension, as it were.
Frosty over there, like, slipping and sliding on action.
So even though they can't sleep together, they are working on each other physically. Like,
Yeah.
they are trying to solve that problem.
Yeah.
An unhealthy relationship would be some guy who needs that affection or that physicality and a person who absolutely refuses to do anything about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so people, they got no idea how
Okay.
to say.
So what actually happens is I actually put up with it at least once a day.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah, she puts out once a day. We do have other things, let's say, like, God, like, I don't necessarily like sharing this part, but it is valuable.
Yes.
Like, if I need more than once a day, then some kind of exchange needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Either I do a major favor for her, or I just straight up give her more for her allowance.
Yep, I get my money in my allowance account.
You can call it prostitution, I call it relationships, baby. like.
Hey, here's what it is though. It works for us. I like money, he likes sex.
Yeah.
There's a simple solution here. Like if somebody likes, like I know a common thing for girls sometimes is they want a nice home cooked meal because they don't want to think about dinner. So sometimes a very common trade back in whenever was make the food and you'll get the lay.
You'll put out.
You get the lay.
Yeah.
So I mean it's always something of an equal trade depending on what your terms are. And
They're laughing. They're laughing.
Yeah,
It's
they're laughing.
coming up now, and that's fine. That is fine. You're allowed to laugh, but that is what
Yeah.
works for us.
Yeah, no, but I put up with it once a day for no charge.
Is this gonna be archived? Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
I don't care.
so
We'll put it out there.
So that he is satisfied because that's what he needs. That's his level of what he needs.
It's odd hearing you give saxophone advice. I try not to talk about it too much. I mean, and we're not. I'm just gonna say we've had adventures.
Yeah.
We've had adventures, okay? Like a couple.
See, I'm actually very open about it in my server.
I try. I don't know why. I don't like being open about that.
Well, I have a lot of girlfriends who are extremely ace or have never experienced, and they're like, well, what do you do about... And, you know, they've got questions. And I'm like the mom friend for the sex advice a lot, so it comes very naturally to me. A lot of the teenage girls, and especially like the ones who just don't know, like even like, well, how do your tampons work and stuff like that? I'm like, oh my god, okay, so like
this is just very practical kind of advice. I think a channel for a relationship. You know what? I've been meaning to change the channel in Discord from my 2 cents to just Ask Stuart.
It has to be the most real advice I've heard. Yeah, no, like but that's our compromise, you know. You can't, it's not just men want sex and women don't want it, so they can't force it on you. No, men have sex as an actual need. It is an actual physical need. It is a necessity for many.
Well, okay, because someone's going to take that out of context. Essentially, men do have the drive to procreate. It is an intense drive, and it is different from how women's drive makes that happen.
Yeah.
Naked yoga.
Yeah, no, it is different. On average, men's drive and their need to do that is higher than women's, and it's fine. But
and sometimes it's reversed. Like I said, I've heard many women complain that their boyfriends are not doing it for them, and I'm like at all? And they're like, no, they just aren't interested. And I'm like, I don't understand this.
Yeah,
like no, this is an alien concept to me.
That baffles me too, because like you're freaking.
Yeah, it's weird, but to me, it happens. But yeah, so essentially, we can keep going.
Yeah.
Feel free to start the.
If only Disney was woke about this. I know, like I would love like actual. This is why Frozen 2 sucks so much.
Oh my god.
And why the relationship between Anna and Kristoff is written in such a horribly abusive, terrible way, and why it's one of the worst relationships I have ever seen on a TV screen.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I hate it so much.
So, yeah, Monk Brain needs saxophone. You got it, bro. I blame the testosterone. There's lots of things, but it's just essentially how it do. Okay, this is kind of, and as the world gets more woke and as certain things become acceptable or unacceptable and standards change, there are just some certain things that don't.
Yeah, no, I like right now. Can you read my Frozen? Okay, so right now I'm actually having a very hard time wrapping my head around a lot of like the unacceptable versus what's becoming acceptable, and like what the. Do I dare?
What are you talking about?
Feminists.
Let's not. Okay, there's some good questions coming in.
Okay.
And I think we might want to answer those.
I'm gonna put it this way. What particular groups of people are deeming as immoral? Or what should be right and wrong and acceptable? Like, the moral grade points are shifting and changing all the time. But there are things that you've got to recognize that, you know, your moral stances are not everybody's moral stances. You're gonna have to learn to accept that some things can exist, and you gotta stop making everything illegal. Or at least stop, like, making rape so freaking,
This is a we're getting off topic, and
I know,
it's a rabbit hole that we're diving into.
You know what I mean, though. Like,
I know.
The fact that you can now call it like mid thing, and it's now holds up in court. Are you?
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it, and I you know what? I think I get it.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure most of them get it as well. because we kind of have similar mindsets, but out of context, we are going into a discussion
I know.
that is not great.
I had a deep think shower this morning, and I think some of the residual anger from it is still there. And I tried to write it all down.
But let's get to Hikaru.
Okay.
Hikaru is asked, how do you know when you're ready for a relationship? The last two relationships I was in, they were forced in by my folks. I'm going to tell you, for the most part, you're almost never ready for anything.
No.
Whenever something starts to click, you kind of know.
I knew I was gonna marry you about 3 years after I dated you.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I was 17. We were on our summer break, and I got my family ring from my grandmother, and I gave him the ring, and I said, I'm wearing this for my senior year of high school, and he said, oh, okay. We're engaged now. Oh, okay. We're engaged.
So, yeah, like, essentially, you never know when you're ready for anything, and that includes a relationship. If you're... This may sound weird, but practice asking people out.
Yeah, I know it's discouraged by some nowadays, but seriously, the only way that you're going to get out there and meet people that might actually be receptive to you is to go out and, here's a wild thought, meet people.
Yeah, like essentially socialize, get into relationships. It doesn't even have to be romantic or sexual. Just learn to get comfortable around people again.
Yeah, and that's yeah.
Let's see. I started how to help my partner being insecure with themselves. Let's see. I'm still struggling with that. What's the question? What? Okay, we are going fast. Hold on. Sorry, questions. What do you do if you love someone a lot but despise their parents? We both kind of struggled with that. Her parents did not like me at first, and I felt that her mom was being very rude to me. And my parents are kind of old-fashioned and not very...
Your parents told you that if you had sex with me before I was 18, that my mother would throw you in jail.
Yeah.
His parents told him that. My mother is not like that. She would have never done that, but she is kind of Okay, mom's a little crazy. She was a single parent of 4 kids for like 12 years. It is not her fault. I have had to forgive my mother a lot. She did her best, I promise. But she does have the things that make it kind of harder for her to be around.
How about this? Essentially, a relationship with your in-laws or potential in-laws is a relationship like anything else. It's going to take work. Our families did not get along for a long time. I would say, 4 years into our marriage, and that was 10 years into a relationship.
Yeah, it took a long time for both sides to really become accepting of the fact that this had really happened and it wasn't going to change.
Once we moved out of our old hometown, they got along better.
Yeah, no, they did. The problem, his family lived in the same town, my family lived in the same town. We moved out. His parents finally moved away. My grandmother plays Words with Friends with his mother. It took them 10, 12, 13 years into the relationship to get there. Because the thing is because my family's had the thing where they've met family and then the divorces have happened. So, it's not, families don't always have to get along because they're kind of always in the idea that, well, what if something happens, too? So it's not as important to the parents sometimes. It is important to put up with it for their kids, but they kind of are also sort of going to be in a realistic mindset of, but what if something happens?
Yeah.
Because my mother and my aunt have both been married 4 times.
I didn't realize your aunt was married that many
Every
times.
time my mom got divorced, my aunt got married and vice versa. It was a running joke for 20 years. I'm not kidding.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Wow.
No, my mother and my aunt have been married 3 or 4 times each, and she left my very cool uncle to sleep with her CEO and marry him.
Okay.
So, I mean, that you've got to kind of give a little bit of slack that you're never going to have a perfect relationship with your in-laws if the relationship is anything less than 20 years old.
How to help your partner with being insecure about themselves from Hikari. I'm telling you, I still struggle with that. essentially you get like.
I just tell him that no, you're doing fine. Stop being a wimp.
Now, sometimes tough love is helpful. Sometimes, essentially, like getting them to put themselves out there in various things too is helpful. Like, for example, you were feeling really shitty lately, and I forced you to go into the escape room.
It's great.
I forced you to go into the escape room.
Yeah, no, it was fun. I liked it.
And now we're discussing with the entire family. Let's go do one. And so, like, as there's a lot of confidence because she was like, "What if I figure it out too fast? What if I can't figure it out? What if I'm not good at it? Just do it." You like encourage them to become the best that they can be.
I think I was more disinterested than not because honestly, it was just more obviously, right now is an exception to how generally, but yeah, no.
Yeah. So that's like get them to put themselves out there. The more that they express themselves, the more that they'll feel better about themselves, and especially in the right friendship circle. My girlfriend does know what excites her. I'm guessing this says my girlfriend doesn't know what excites her physically. What should I do for Valentine's Day? Yikes.
Honestly,
tell you what, girlfriend, tell me.
Honestly, usually the way to get a girl to get into like a lovey-dovey mood and to really get in is to kind of spoil them a little bit, honestly. Like that's like I love being pampered. I think part of my problem is I'm almost pampered too much nowadays because like I consider everything you do as me being spoiled.
Okay.
So like
you set your expectations too weird.
No. Well, yeah, no. My expectations are literally 0. So anything I get is like, oh my god, hey. Mm-hmm. So like he can come home with a thing of flowers and a box of chocolates and I'll fucking melt. Mm-hmm. Like but if she likes something special or if she likes something that's very specific or something that means a lot to her, I suggest shooting for that or trying for that, or if she has like a favorite place she likes to go, wine and dine. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of whining and dining.
Yeah, I think
I know it's hard to do right now.
Jelly might also be questioning like maybe kinky stuff, and I'm just like, start very small if you want to introduce that stuff. It's difficult for me to come up with the context of what you're asking for, but yeah, just take it slow, experiment. That's essentially what it comes down to. Like I said, we've had many adventures, and they did not start off as adventurous. I will tell you that.
Both of us.
How chaotic is your life with a kid? Is it the right amount? It depends on the day, because our child has very severe, not very severe, but...
So she does have severe developmental delays.
Yeah.
She's not severely, she doesn't have any sort of mental deterioration. But she has a developmental delay, which means she acts like a toddler closer than a 10-year-old in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. Because she hasn't gotten to those developmental milestones that are typical of her age. Yep. So it can be very difficult. So it's also why we decided against having another child, was because most of her issues, even the physically medical ones, were genetic. Yeah. So...
That's the cat eating your food.
I'm
let's see. Okay. Welcome back. Were you nervous when it came to introduce your significant other to the other family? No, but that is because I was 13.
Yeah.
You were 12. I wasn't really nervous as much as, like, this is a formality. And also, I did not expect this to turn into a long-term thing. Also, because I met you in Taekwondo class, your mom was already there, so it's just, hi.
Yeah, like, okay, here's the negative about us being together so long. Mm-hmm. We're very crap at new dating advice. If you're 25 and you're having these anxieties, we cannot relate at all.
The closest that we can immediately relate, I don't like talking about on YouTube.
Yeah,
but there was an introduction made to a family member that went over okay.
Uh-huh.
It was weird. But then again, this is a discussion not for YouTube.
Yeah, and the circumstances were a little bit more atypical.
Yeah, it was...
much more atypical.
But yeah, I am going to skip that, mostly because I wish I could give you better advice, but this is just based on our experiences, because we pretty much the only thing.
Yeah, we've been together since we were 12.
Yeah.
So, like, meeting parents of other people, like, the closest I can think of is meeting parents of my friends, but even then, I'm so, like, hole up and don't care, because...
The current dating world is a minefield for men. People wonder why they would rather play video games. I'm not going to disagree with you there, but I am not also going to, like, vehemently agree. So.
I do, honestly. I think that a lot of what's going on right now is just awful for men in general. I honestly do.
I'm not going to disagree.
Yeah.
In fact, I probably agree. Zendikari, not relationship related, but what are your alignments? I am definitely chaotic neutral.
You want to talk neutral?
Probably,
yeah.
Probably true neutral or chaotic neutral. I would say more true neutral.
Yeah, no, I did that little brain test thingy to see what kind of brain it was. The whichever one was like the ultimate devil's advocate thinking. Like the one that tears down relationships just to watch the previous argument be scattered to the wind and grin about it was, I think, the description.
What are topics you never talk about with your significant other? I never talk politics, religion, parents. That's not a mindset you should have.
No.
I think you should be able to talk about them.
No,
even if you disagree. For example, we could do the feminism thing.
There's nothing we don't talk about, yeah. Even if I'm screaming about something that I am way too deep into and understand way too much of, and I just want to yell at the world for a while, and he's like, okay, honey. Okay, honey. Like, he won't disagree on a lot of things, but there's some things that he's like, you sure you're not going a little too red there? And I'm like,
yeah,
no, I'm sure.
You're way more red-pilled than I am.
Yeah, no, I am.
I would say I am moderately red-pilled in that sense, but like,
no,
you are like, let's get out of the Matrix, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, holy shit, okay, we need to like calm the fuck down.
I have an existential thinking problem.
Well, that is not exactly what I was referring to, but yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
no,
debater, yes.
No, you absolutely should talk about everything with your partner. Even if you don't agree on things, that's okay.
Like, I also think I'm more Christian than he is. I think I have more religious beliefs, and he's more, I don't know if I care anymore, or I don't know if I even believe anymore. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
She might be black. She's so red-pilled, she's black-pilled. Let's see. Yes. Okay. I'm looking. Are you saying you should subvert their expectations? I mean, that's not unhealthy to do. Let's see. Maverick, I have both parents, but one basically lionized me and made me a loner. Got it.
Oh, okay.
And the other tried to encourage me to do my best. The question is, what would you suggest is the best way to go about dating? Practice, yeah. I think Takoa said it best. He said something like...
dating is a practice and you have to do it.
Yeah.
And you have to do it to get better. It's just socializing. And I think... Okay, I'm going to go out on my theories here for a second.
Uh-oh.
Because the problem with that is we are in...
A society? Were you going to say a society unironically? We live in
the best word!
We live in a society.
Okay, shut up and listen.
Okay,
all right?
I'm listening.
Okay. Black pill is nihilistic. Yeah, no, yeah, I'm very nihilistic, actually. I am extremely nihilistic. But I'm okay with that. Anyway, no, right now, the societal, like, the environment is very... Shit, what's the point?
Toxic?
Well, what's just the best way to go about it? No, socializing. The idea of how we socialize, and people don't want to socialize, and everybody's kind of scared to socialize because everybody sort of put out this mass, like, divisive, she said, he said, and you don't really have to agree, blah, 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 like, because, the whole problem is my feelings are valid, the argument, but, and everyone forgets to add on, my feelings are valid, but your reactions are not.
Okay.
And I actually just read a big, huge social post about this the other day that I agreed with very, very much. A place full of people. Yeah, no, I love you guys too. But did she crash? Yes, I've been doing it a lot lately. It's the COVID depression. Don't worry about it.
No. By crashing, like when remember they're 30 seconds behind. So when I was laughing at you about living in a society, you just kind of like.
I thought it was because I went like this. It was because like I forgot because like my brain crashed.
Yep.
Yeah. But people don't want to socialize and feelings aren't. Yeah, they don't want to socialize because one, they've either tried it and they've realized people suck and they don't want to be around people anymore. Two, everybody they have come across is divisive and just wants to argue them, or nobody can. Coming to a communicated agreement is less common now, far less common. Ryan George had a really good video that commented on this, and I think he's right. Everything is divisive. Nobody can really talk to each other. You just argue about it, and you don't really come to like that mutual understanding, you know. And this is just. Because people believe that their feelings are the ones that matter because they've been told they can surround themselves with people who understand them. But what they forgot to understand was that people who understand them are not always going to be in their immediate vicinity. And if you're in public, you kind of need to...
I think actually I've got a good one.
You know what I'm trying to say, right?
No, I know, but I think I can finally form it into words. So way back when society was a little bit younger and without our amazing technology, we had to form communities. And your community formed either around your workplace, your church, or your neighborhood.
Yeah.
And people were forced to come up with compromises that would eventually get them to see eye to eye with people that they don't agree with.
Yeah.
And this was with your family too. Nowadays, now that we have the internet and we can form online communities, there's much less incentive to get along with people that you have to interact with.
Yes, isolation is becoming the norm in a time period where we are the most connected with. Yes.
Yeah. So
no, it's the echo chamber effect.
Yeah. So
you
nowadays,
with your own echo
there
chamber.
is this really I hate this. I see this all the fucking time on Facebook and Twitter. It is if you feel like someone is toxic in your life, immediately cut them out. Yes, in extreme cases.
Yeah.
Yes, if there is someone actually abusing you on a regular basis, yes, cut them out. But people are taking this as if you've been slighted or offended in any single way.
Yeah.
And that is the most fucking toxic and backwards ass logic you could do, because that is what's leading to the collapse of the society, is that we are forming our own echo chambers, and we are just finding people that agree with us 100%, and we are just reinforcing really bad behaviors on each other, and everyone is getting more and more stubborn because we are finding that we don't need to get along with people we disagree with anymore.
Yeah.
And it's
disgusting. And I saw this as a problem way back in 2013 or 2014 when they started shutting down the debates at Harvard.
Yeah.
Because what happened is two main speakers were going to have a debate at Harvard. You know, the education culmination of the world, where different ideas and talking is supposed to be, celebrated and And this professor, who was supposed to be a speaker at this, was so amazed by the protesters who came in and shut them down. He was absolutely astounded. He could not believe that people were actually shutting down debate. And it was because the debate, it was an abortion debate. One pro, one against. And it was shut down by a feminist group. Who said that they shouldn't be talking about it because they're men.
Right.
And it actually got shut down. It did not happen. The college folded to the protesters, and it did not happen. And I was like, seriously? And that happened in 2013 or 2014. That happened 7 or 8 years ago. It is so much worse now.
Yep. Human nature seeks to get rid of discomfort, and now it's really easy to get rid of discomfort. And you're right. And steel sharpens steel. There was actually Avatar, The Last Airbender, one of the comic books has one of my favorite quotes ever. And Toph was going around town looking for metal benders, and she realized that it was going to be very, very difficult in order to find them, because metal is essentially earth that has been pounded and hit and put under immense pressure until it forms something new. And nowadays, it's very, very easy to get rid of pressure through various things. And yeah, it's like
you can't do that. See, I think it's one of the reasons why I actually
pressure is a good thing.
I think it's one of the reasons I'm such a workaholic.
Stress is a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, thank you. To turn this back into relationship, strife can also help evolve a relationship.
Yep.
So a good relationship takes work. Like we said at the beginning, we are very open. We were not a perfect couple at the beginning. When we moved in together and we first got married, it was fighting quite often.
But if you don't fight and figure out how to temper each other, then you're never going to learn, which is probably why all relationships nowadays kind of fall apart, because nobody's willing to, put up with the discomfort of actually being married. You almost are no longer growing just on your own. You are growing together. So like when you temper together, it's almost symbiotic. Like I don't think I could survive mental, or I'd have to learn. It'd be a very hard learning curve to survive without him anymore.
The benefits of I just watched Curious Tangent's video about benefits of positive stress. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And what Dakota said, we got rid of.
How to tell the significant other that they need to diet. Ooh.
That's a touchy one. I think that one depends very much on the situation of each other and stuff. But like,
I don't know your situation, but I would recommend. Hey, I've noticed some things.
That's what I did with you.
Yeah.
He was reaching about
310 pounds.
You were breaking 300, and I went, hey honey, I'm getting a little bit worried about the weight thing. And he had always been a little bit big, and he'd always kind of tipped around 275 to 280, and then he tipped over 300, and I'm like, no, hon, I need you to lose some weight. You are scaring me, and I don't want to be a widow at 50.
Yeah. So essentially, and that was around when I was like 28, so that was like 2018.
Yeah.
And I spent, get them Beat Saber. Essentially, there's lots of ways to do it, but mostly you should come at it with the concern of their health.
Yeah, because I am legitimately, I'm like, no, I can't live without you. Like, if you die too early, I'm screwed. You gotta lose weight. That's pretty much what I'm
saying. We're being very direct here. There are gentler ways of... If you started gaining a lot of weight, I would say, yeah, we need to work on this.
Right, exactly.
They had... Bring back Beat Saber. Yeah. I like Takoa said, yeah, don't turn it into you, turn it into we.
Yeah, Blunt works for us, obviously, but if your guys are more sensitive or if they need a more gentler touch, but like it is a very much it's definitely a we thing or a concern thing.
By the way, if you are interested in my workout routine, my current workout routine is I do the one punch stuff, meaning the 100 push-up, sit-up, squats. I do a 5-day dumbbell rotation, and I do insanity almost every day. I am still heavy. I am sitting around 250 constantly, and I'm really annoyed about it. But I'm also very much in shape now, and
you're a lot healthier at 250. Like, I feel like you're healthy at 250. Like 300, you are not healthy. That was my concern. I mean, you had a hernia.
I did. I did have a hernia.
You got a hernia even. Yeah. And I was like, I don't like this. Yeah, I think you need to. So he got the hernia just about after we noticed that he was about 300 pounds. And I'm like, yep, nope, this is not going to happen anymore.
So both of you, if confronted the other on weight, would be blunt.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Let's see. If you suddenly started gaining a lot of weight, I'd be like, yeah, I probably would be blunt. But we're also at the part of our relationship where it's safe to be blunt.
Yeah.
If this was like 10 years ago, it would have been a much more different approach.
Yeah, but it would have been a soft touch. It would have been like maybe gently. I can see you maybe if let's go out to eat. I can see you saying no. I can see you like maybe starting to deny things as maybe a hint, and maybe I'm starting to like. I can see how that would work. Mm-hmm. I will actually
tell you how do you stay motivated. I can tell you. We've got a
I don't get
bribe.
as much money anymore.
We've got a bribe and reward system for doing exercises every day. Now, granted, I don't cash in on it like all the time anymore.
No,
it is.
I can't keep up. Like I've been.
Well, Takao has mentioned it's discipline. Like at first, I had to reward myself like all the time.
Yeah.
I like, for example, if I stuck to that regiment for a week, I bought myself this GameCube controller.
Yep.
Yeah, my Smash Bros. Controller.
Yeah, so now he gets like a little. He convinces himself, well, if I do this much, then maybe I can go get this, and then like that kind of thing. I do my best to provide as much reward as possible, but like again,
sometimes it's too much.
So it's too much, or like because right now my mind is not like he's in the perfect place to actually get time to do workouts without the cons being there and everything. And my mind is in a massive COVID depression where I'm just calling it that because that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have the mental energy to actually work up to do it as much as he needs even when he does it. So I'm like, okay, I know you need the reward, but I can't offer the reward.
And
today,
sometimes
so.
I'll do I will buy something instead.
Yeah.
So essentially, like what I did, I just started rewarding myself because I realized I work best on rewards. Now sometimes you can't do that, like if you're low on money, but you got to figure out something. You got to figure out something to treat yourself, to get yourself motivated up to it. After a while, you'll just do it on your own.
Yeah, especially if you have a hard time with like self-discipline. But yeah.
Yeah, people are. What are some good activities you can do with your significant other? If you're poor,
sex.
Yeah. But I'm assuming she can't be with her partner.
Yeah.
So we were using we use D&D a lot, but like
Friday, honestly, I only played the games with everybody because of him. Like D&D is not my thing. I'm not good at it. Like he has to do all the calculations for me and everything. Cause he knows I'm not good at it. He knows he's got to help me, and he'll set up the macros and he'll make it so I can play. Mm-hmm. But what I actually like is the role play. I like role playing against him. I like playing off of his mind. That's what I enjoy. So I mean, I really like our long scheduled streams when we can do them. Usually I actually want to do shit. It's just time. Because right now I'm putting in anywhere from 50 to 80 hours a week for the business.
Think of it this way. Anything that you can do with your buddies, try to be able to do that with your partner. My grandma, this is actually one quote. My grandma was trailer trash, right?
Yes.
But one thing she mentioned that I will always tell people, never find a partner that you can't live without. Find a partner that you can tolerate living with.
Yes.
So, the fate system. Okay, Takoa, I tried the fate system, and I prefer that, but I could not get into fate. I hated it so much. How did you figure out the check? We were very traditional. At first, I paid for most things, because I made the money.
No, yeah. Nowadays, it's all just sort of, like, blended together.
Conversation starters for a stranger you think you're into. Honestly, passion.
Hey there, cutie.
No. Okay, if you're a guy, don't open with that. Unless you've got game, don't do that.
No, that is a strictly female privilege there.
Yeah. Even then, you will actually scare off most guys anymore. Like if you approach like that.
I scared off guys in grade school. I was not shy. Like I had a bully pick on me, and my response was to give him a hug.
It works.
It does.
Let's see.
But I actually don't want guys around me, so I think that's what I say.
Yeah. So essentially, if you're into someone, like a stranger, like approach them, like just try to suss out what they're into, and like if like honestly, just kind of be honest.
The best line you could say to respond to show that you're interested is, well, may I get your number? It's still just the most common thing. I've been asked for my number a couple times.
Yeah, unless you got the bubbies. Right now, the world is very female favored. Women can get away with a lot of things that men cannot get away with.
Yep.
It's just how it is. And it's kind of always been like that. Male and female privilege is a thing.
Oh, yeah, no, it is. But, it's, but that's also the fairness of it. Because...
It's not equal, but it's a little fair.
Because everybody has different advantages. It's just the same as being a person. Some people can't talk. Like, if you're born with a stutter, that's an automatic disadvantage.
Yeah.
That's just something you have
I've
to
got a
live with.
stutter and a lisp, and it took me forever to, like, you can still catch me once in a while where I'll just,
Yeah, no, I have a slight, actually my brother and I have the exact same lisp, which is why I think I've got slight Asperger's, because I think it comes from that side of the family. It would not shock me, because I think my dad is just as mentally, yeah.
Takoa is giving better advice than I am right now.
Takoa is a little bit more well articulated than you are.
No, well, he also meets strangers. We're not dating anybody. Like.
Oh, true, yeah. No, Takoa's gonna be a little bit better on the dating advice. He actually has a lot
in
more
terms
practice.
of how to approach a stranger, how to, like, engage, that sort of thing. And
yeah, I can't.
it takes
do that,
practice.
yeah.
It's just what it does. Like
I'm really
everything.
good. I'm really good in written chat rooms. Like, I love socializing. And my problem with it is I feel like a lot of people like to hide in a chat room. Like, they don't like to give out who they are. And I'm like, no, I'm pure, raw, and uncut. Like, I don't have a persona or a filter or anything like that. So, like, I kind of have started to expect that the people behind the screen are not going to be as raw and uncut as I am. And I think that disappoints me. Because it's still socialization. It's still learning to interact with people by being people. And I think people don't think about it that way, and they should, because you're still practicing, even if it's a little bit. It's a softer way of practicing, but it's still practice.
Yeah, and I think this is a good place to end it. It's approaching 2:30. Jojo will be home any second, and I think this is good. Yep, so people are talking about D&D now.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and call it a day. I understand there's been a rating system implemented in live streams.
No idea.
I don't know. Hold on. I'm going to hit /raid. Does that do anything? No. So I've been told that there's a rating system, but it doesn't exist. No, that's fine. That's fine. We're going to go ahead and call it a day. Thank you everyone for joining us. I will try to, if someone could someone work out a time code system, and I will go ahead and pin it. No. YouTube added a raid system. No joke. No meme. It's straight up a thing now. But, yeah. So we're going to go away. If someone could figure out the time codes, I would appreciate it. And we'll work it out from there. But see you, everybody.